by Sunil Dang, editor-in-chief. In a dramatic turnaround in Malaysia, 92-year-old leader Mahathir Mohammad has been declared winner in the Malaysian elections. Mahathir's victory brought an end to the six-decade dominance of the Barisan Nasional, BN, a coalition of parties led by the United Malays National Organisation, a group that Mahathir himself once headed. Victory of the new opposition coalition reveals that voters have noticed the negative trickle-down effects of venal government policies of the Prime Minister Najib Razak. The level of tolerance for corruption has always been very high in Malaysia. But what was accepted and tolerated before is no longer accepted and tolerated. However, some credit should be given to the jailed leader Anwar Ibrahim, whom Mahathir Mohammad immediately announced to release after the poll results. But Ibrahim's lawyer made an interesting revelation that rather applying for pardon from the Malaysian king, Anwar would appeal for review of the charges framed against him. Almost entire opposition parties have tightened their belt to gear for the next general elections. Similarly, Government of India too seems readying for next Lok Sabha polls. It is trying to reach out to the next-door neighbour nations so to ensure that there would be complete calm on borders during elections, if not at all borders then at least on Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. The track to diplomacy initiated with Pakistan should be seen in the wake of this exercise. Coming back to national politics, it seems that not only is the whole opposition trying to rally under one umbrella, as had happened during 1977 Lok Sabha polls under the influence of JP movement, with the collective opposition pressing for paper-based ballot voting. They are not ready to accept even EVM with VAT. On the other hand, the Election Commission has vowed to continue using EVM, and the next generation of the EVM with PAT is going to be used in Rajasthan Assembly polls. So, a heavy ruckus between the opposition and the Election Commission is expected ahead of 2019 Lok Sabha polls. By-elections in 4 Lok Sabha seats, 2 in Maharashtra, 1 each in Up and Nagaland, and 10 assembly seats in 9 states is scheduled to take place on 28th of May. However, the way opposition parties are making alliances and creating anti-BJP bloc, poll verdict seems written on the wall. However, the opposition parties should also keep in mind that in politics, 1 + 1 is not always 2. It's not as simple in arithmetic where 2 parties joining hands would always mean loss of the opposition. At least in Kerala, joint opposition candidate has a Himalayan task to stop BJP from polarizing the Hindu votes. The financial year 2017-18 began with a disappointing GDP growth figure of 5.7% as the combined shock of demonetization and the GST took the toll. But it may end on a cheerful note. As per Nomura reports, India's gross domestic product, GDP, is expected to clock a 7.7% growth in the January to March quarter of FY18, highest in 2 years. However, the slower growth in the first 2 quarters could bog down the full-year GDP growth, which by CSO advance estimates is going to be 6.6%. This will be the lowest level since Narendra Modi was elected to power in 2014. But, economists are highly optimistic about India's economic growth in next 2 years, which is going to make India the fastest growing economy again. The Nomura report mentioned above notifies that India would witness cyclical recovery led by both investment and consumption. Although, Factors like rising oil prices and tighter financial conditions are expected to drag down growth rates. The World Bank too predicts India's GDP growth to be 7.3% in the current year 2018 and 7.5% in 2019. The GDP data for the fourth quarter is scheduled to be announced on 31 May by the CSO. However, these economic indicators would trickle down towards public in general in next 2-3 years, while Lok Sabha polls are due in less than 1 year. Hence, these development indicators of the Indian economy are not going to solve the Narendra Modi's problems in coming general elections. Success of 102 Not Out has once again proved that it's script that rules on the box office, not the star cast. The Amitabh Bachchan and Rishi Kapoor star Hindi flick has minted near 40 crore rupees at the box office, which is huge collection from its investment perspective. Hope other film producers are taking cue from it. Jai Ho.